Business is about people, it's about community, it's about growth, it's about so much. Paul is all of those things.
He's got that can-do attitude, and he's just ready to roll up the sleeves and take on a new challenge.
It's drive, passion, tenacity, guts, and integrity that has gotten him to where he is today.
We need steel, and we need people like Paul Collins.
Well, my father grew up in a small town, Newfoundland, in a small house that had a general store right on the property. So it was a family business right from the get-go. I believe my father moved into Edmonton in 1967. My dad loved Edmonton because he felt welcomed here, he felt supported here, and he felt that this was a great place to raise a family with an abundance of opportunity and an entrepreneurial mindset. In 1979, started his first business.
Paul's first company didn't actually make it through. And so he started working back out of his garage. So he was making fire pits for like the county and doing whatever kind of side jobs.
So he started at home, building up a clientele and trust in his abilities. And he moved into a space in St. Albert, and he started to manufacture out of that shop, and then slowly hired people to help him out with that. So he had a staff of probably 4 or 5.
If you think about somebody who starts from scratch and builds everything by themselves, you know, he understands the growth of everything, and he understands every aspect of what it takes to run a business.
Paul never looked at what can we just get through our shop. It's like, hey, what can we take on that no one else wants to do and really knock it out of the park.
I think the basic challenges are finding people that can complement your skill set. The people that he started with in business, the 4 or 5 people that initially joined him, are still with him in some way, shape, or form.
It wasn't about being the biggest or the best. It was really kind of creating an environment that people could buy into.
And we've probably started 5 to 6 businesses outside of Collins Steel as well, through people who have gone through the ranks at Collins. They had their own entrepreneurial vision, so we helped them.
So they said, hey, I want to go start my own business. Rather than seeing them as competition, Paul became their best customer.
In every sense, if you have a bunch of people that grow and do things the right way, and they grow because of you, it is going to make everything stronger.
What I've learned from my father mostly is err on the side of generosity and deal with every situation with integrity, whether that means standing up for yourself or owning your mistakes.
He does look at the big picture, and he wants us to do well. For example, he's a real champion of the steel industry, and we know how important the steel industry is to Edmonton, the Alberta economy now. It's guys like Paul Collins that drove that thing.
Paul has an ability to see certain things that some don't.
He's an inspirational leader, I would say.
You got to make people believe that you can get there, and that's what Paul does.
He was an early riser, and he always got home in time to take us to hockey, basketball. He coached. He did all of those things while starting and growing a business.
Paul never shies away. He never says no. And he's actually quite selfless in that regard.
The thing about Paul is, yeah, he's a mentor. But more importantly, he is what a role model should be in society.
He's one of those guys that actually likes to get his hands dirty. But I think he really enjoys, giving back and contributing, both with his money, but also with his time.
Paul and his partners made a decision that what they wanted to do is really develop the young people, and he helped Careers Next Generation grow, and we've been able to create a lot of opportunity for youth, and I think that's what we're all about, as well as we need the skilled and motivated workforce for the future.
If you look over the body of his work, it's not one thing. Everything he's done was for the business and for the people within the business.
Oftentimes we drive around town together, and he points out the buildings that we've built, and he tells the stories of how those projects came to fruition. And they always relate back to the people that made it happen.
Paul looks at his family as sort of a group of people that has the ability to do an awful lot for other people. And that's what he's tried to instill in them, and he's done a beautiful job with that.
He wants to build towards a bigger vision, and he brings people in. He's inclusive. He always has fun doing it, and everybody has fun with him.
He had a dream of not only having a business that he would create, but it would be passed on to not only his children, but his grandchildren. 35 years later, the business is still very strong.